I think we're live. Let me just upload this to my story so that people come and watch, hopefully. So what I'm gonna do in this video is I'm gonna try to install Flutter on Windows, which hopefully should go pretty quick. I've done it before a couple times, so it should be pretty simple, but usually there'll be some bugs that I'll run into. So I think maybe that'll be interesting for you guys to watch. And in case you want to try this out yourself, you can follow along and you can kind of see me doing this live. So you'll see all the errors that I'll run into if I run into some. And I'm thinking that that could be something that will be good for someone that's just starting out and trying to figure out how to install Flutter, essentially. So yeah, let's open a new window on Google and just Google Flutter install Windows. All right, download the following bundle. Get the Flutter SDK. Git for Windows. Okay. Extract the file and desired location. All right, let's just follow this. So we'll download the zip file. I didn't really think about the fact that this might actually take some time to download, but we're just gonna wait for it. Download the following bundle, extract the zip file and place the contained Flutter in the desired installation location for the Flutter SDK. Example C source Flutter. Do not install Flutter in a directory file that requires elevated privileges. If you don't. All right, so now we've got this. Okay, let's see. For the other release students, okay. Extract the zip file and place the contained Flutter in the desired installation location. Okay. This basic C, and then okay, create a new folder, I guess. Yep, so let's try that. Folder src, and then we'll just grab this folder and just put it inside this one. This may not be super interesting to watch, I don't know, but I figured that this is something that a lot of people are probably Googling and trying to figure out how to do. So I kind of thought that this was a good idea for a video or a stream, because that way you can just look at this and like follow along exactly everything with what I'm doing. And hopefully, I think that's something that is pretty useful in the beginning when you're like learning all this stuff. So yeah, hopefully it'll be useful. Oh shit. I just realized I'm not actually public. Or the stream is not public right now. So I'm streaming on YouTube, and I haven't done that before, so it's like kind of I'm struggling with like figuring out how to do everything. All right, so now it is public. I think. All right, now it is public. Now it should be up live. I don't know. That's kind of how it works with me sometimes. I fuck things up. Okay, next step. Flutter depends on the Okay, we can close out of this one. Extract the zip file in the, if you don't want to install the fixed version, install the steps 1 and 2. Update your path. From the start search bar, enter env and select edit environment variables in your account. If under the user variables, all right. Under user variables, check if there's an entry called path. If the entry exists, append the full path to Flutter. Using update your path if you wish to run Flutter commands in the regular window console. Okay, so I've installed Linux in the Windows console, so it might be, let's see, install Linux. So it might be that we can do this stuff somewhere else. Export path. Let's try this. Okay, so open up the Windows console. And let's start up our Linux environment, or whatever it's called. Okay. So let's try this and see what happens. No response is usually a good thing. This command sets your path variable to the current terminal window only. To permanently add the update your path. Okay, let's see what happens if we run Flutter Documentation. Command not found. Okay. Edit environment variables for your account. This is the one. Under user variables, which is this one, check if there's an entry called path. There's an entry called path there. If the entry exists, append the full path to flutter/bin using separated from the existing values. Edit. All right, so this is where I'm like a little bit lost. I don't know what they actually want you to do, because this, I'm assuming that the path here is something like, because this one says Visual Studio Code. I think that this is the one that something that allows you to then type in the code dot. Let's see, Zeus Mystery just wrote, you need to restart the console to load the updated path, I think. Okay, I'm not sure if that's what I need to do, but we'll try it. And then we'll do bash Flutter Doctor. Command not found. All right. So let's see. Install Flutter Windows. Let's see if there's, yeah. So usually if these sort of, like, sometimes the documentation is not that great. I feel like this one isn't too good. Like for me, because I haven't used Windows that much, it means that I don't quite understand what they mean when they write this, what they want me to actually do. And that means that sometimes looking into other articles on the topic can be quite good, because they usually explain it a little bit more. I think there's some phenomenon or something called like, so when you're an expert in something, or when you know a lot about something, you kind of get a handicap when trying to explain things to people, because you assume that they have a certain previous or prior knowledge, which may, or like, because to you, some of the knowledge that you have seems so trivial that it's difficult to like come up with or remember that some people might not actually know what you're talking about when you're talking about a path or a directory in a computer. And because of that, because you know all of that so well, it kind of becomes trivial for you. So you kind of, when explaining it, you kind of forget to explain those things, or you forget that some people might not actually understand what even that means. So even though you're trying to write an explanation that's really basic, your basic is advanced to someone that's like a real beginner compared to you. So that can sometimes be the problem with some of these explanations here, that they kind of assume a certain prior knowledge. Or I'm just stupid, I don't know. Set up the environment variable for Flutter in your start search bar. Search. Select edit environment variables. Under user variables, select the option path and edit. Okay, so all of this stuff, like they just said in this explanation here, they just say if the entry exists, append the full path Flutter bin using semicolon as a separator from existing values. That's the explanation that they have. And if we look at this article, they say that, okay, so you go into this place, which we're in here, which is the environment variables for the user. Then you press edit, or you press the path, then you press edit, and then edit environment variable will pop up. Yeah, exactly. And then click the option new and input the Flutter bin path, C source Flutter bin. Okay, so all of these steps are like neglected, or what's the word? They pass over that in this explanation here. They just assume that you know how to do that, which I didn't know how to do. So therefore, sometimes Googling other articles can be really helpful. All right, so what were we supposed to do? Click the option new. Okay. And then C colon. Oh, no. Oh, the keyboard, since it's not a Mac, I'm used to MacBooks or like Mac OS, so I don't know how to do the backslash in the right way. And so I'm just gonna skip past that. Flutter and bin. All right, so now we've added that to the path, I think. And that's all good. Now run the Flutter Doctor. Okay, Flutter Doctor. Okay, bash. Let's reopen it. Let's see what happens if we run Flutter Doctor. All right, so Flutter seems to be working. So here you get a, I don't know if you can see this. And I'm not sure how to, like all of this stuff, since I'm used to the MacBook Pro or Mac, that means that I don't know really how to do most of these things. Like just zooming into this thing, I don't know how to do. Properties, large, okay. That didn't change anything. All right, anyway, Flutter, if we run Flutter Doctor, we get a list of all the things that are going on right now, or like where we're at, essentially. And that says that we've installed Flutter, so that's working. We don't have the Android toolchain. Android Studio is not installed. Visual Studio Code is installed, but it's not. Flutter extension not installed. Okay, so we can do bash and then code dot. Just open up Visual Studio Code. And then we can install Flutter for this. Install. All right, so I think that's installed now. And if we go into this again, reopen it and run Flutter Doctor, I'm not sure, but I think it should, yeah. So now it says that we've installed it for Visual Studio Code or VS Code as well. I don't have Android Studio yet, so we're gonna do the thing also. Right now we've installed Flutter, so it works, or we have it. But we also need to have some sort of emulator so that we can run an app. So we need to install Android Studio. So let's do that. Download Android Studio. Accept. All right, and unable to locate Android SDK. Okay, that's because we don't have it. All right, so the thing is that I've installed Linux as well, and Flutter Doctor. Command not found, but there's a different error now than what it was before. Because before we had another error, which was just command not found. Now we get a list of all of these errors. Not sure why. Flutter version. Okay, so none of that works. Okay, let's see. For other releases, okay. Git, if you don't want to install a fixed version, okay. All right, so now we're installing it on the Linux system as well, just so that we have it on in both places. One of the things that if you're wondering about what I'm doing right now with all this stuff here, what you can do is you can install Linux in your Windows console. Oh, I don't like that happens when I shake this around the screen. All of those on other windows all the other windows shut down or minimize. I don't really like that. Okay, so now I think we have Flutter installed. Doctor. No, apparently not. Maybe we need to restart it. Actually, let's do this. This command sets your path to the current terminal. Optionally pre-download development binaries. The Flutter tool downloads platform-specific binaries. You are now ready to run Flutter commands. Okay. Let's make a directory. Let's call this v2 and then cd into v2. Okay, let's do the git clone for that. And then we'll export the path before we shut this thing down. Okay, Android Studio is downloaded. Yes. Let's install all of that. All right, Flutter. All right, so anyway, I'm gonna have to do that some other time. Next, finish. Okay. I don't really use Android Studio at all, so Doesn't really matter what this is. This is just basically to get the emulator up and running so that we can have some sort of screen to show our apps when we build them. Okay, Flutter Doctor. Android Studio. Android license status unknown. All right, so we're just gonna have to wait for this to finish. And then I think we're gonna have to create an emulator. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so everything's here. Your device. If you need test, you'll need an Android device running Android 4.1 or higher. Enable. Okay, so that is just to have a device set up the Android emulator. Enable VM acceleration on your machine. Refer this link to enable. Create a hardware. Finish. Okay, we'll wait with that. Oh, fuck. Enable VM acceleration on your machine. Refer to this link. Create and manage virtual devices. Okay, so we're gonna have to start a project. Doesn't matter what it is, because we basically just want to get an emulator. Run file new. Okay. In Android device, AVD manager, click run, the green button in the toolbar. Then the emulator starts up display. Okay. Default for your selected OS. So I'm trying to find where you create a virtual device. Maybe we'll have to open up this link. I don't know. Android virtual device is configuration data. Android phone, tablet, where was it? Select tools, AVD manager, tools, AVD manager. Okay, here we go. Create virtual device. We're gonna go with a Pixel 3, I think, yeah. Pixel 3, next. Download. Accept, next. Download. So there's a lot of downloading. I know this probably isn't super exciting to watch, but like I said at the start, I hope this is something that can be useful for people when you want to try to install this on your own. I myself, in the beginning, I kind of found it nice to have something to watch where someone did something live, because that way there's usually, when someone cuts the different things out, there's usually some things that get lost along the way. Simple explanations, like things like what I was just going through here with the fact that this explanation here, there's usually things like that in videos as well, where someone explains something and they don't even understand themselves, or they think that they're being super clear, but they're actually assuming a preset of knowledge that you don't have when you're watching that video. And that, I remember that just making me crazy when in the beginning. Just so many things that I kind of that people just did, and it just happened, and I didn't understand how it happened. So hopefully this can be something where you can watch this and you'll see exactly, or you can follow along exactly what I'm doing, even if it's a little bit slow. I don't know. Maybe it'll be helpful, hopefully. We'll download Q as well. Isn't it fun to watch me just download things and wait for these loading bars to finish? I'm trying to think if there's something else that we'll need to do after this, but I don't know. We can actually try to create a project. So bash. Okay, so this is the thing that I'm like a little bit, I kind of need to install it also in Linux, or in, which I don't know. I'm not too familiar with how all of this works, because I know I've installed Linux here, and I can use all the Linux commands to navigate and to create folders, to like all the Linux command works, or commands works. But I've installed Flutter now on Windows, but if I run a Flutter command in my Linux environment here, then all of a sudden, like, that doesn't work at all. And okay, I think I know what that is, why that is actually. So probably I'll need to download this. Because it looks like if you read all of this, you can see that there's different commands here, and I think that these are like or like there's syntax errors, but I've downloaded the version for Windows, which of course, now that I think of it, it makes sense that that doesn't work in Linux, because they have different commands and different things to run certain things. So it does make sense that this didn't work. But let's see, for extract the file in the desired location. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into documents, and we're gonna see here, cd. What do we call it? Okay, cd all right, so here we might actually just put it here. Tar. Okay, let's do this. Error is not received. Cannot open no such file or directory. Let's see. XF MNT C users. So right now I'm just trying to, because this command here has a path in it to downloads, to the downloads folder, because when you download this in Linux, it would get put into this folder. It gets put in the same folder here in Windows as well. It's just that the path to that folder is going to be different. So I hope at least that this will work if we just change the directory here so that we get to the right one. Cal Holden slash downloads. Okay. Okay, tar xf. You know what? Actually, let's just navigate to cd development tar xf. Okay, let's see what this cal default user cal, let's see, Flutter. So I need to basically extract that file somehow. Okay, let's think. Error. Download. Cannot open. No such file or directory. Okay, let's just go into downloads just to see if... Okay. Oh, so... Okay, so that was the problem. So now I think it's working because it's taken a little bit of time. So it should probably, because it's taken a little bit of time, it's probably doing something, I would assume. So yeah, now I think that's going to be solving our problems. Oh, wait, I have to answer this. How do I do this? Okay, mute the mic. All right, sorry about that. Oh, this stream, I don't know. I don't know what will turn out from this stream. I actually watched one of the inspirations or one of the ideas kind of behind doing these streams is Joe Rogan, if I'm going to be honest. I really like what he's got going, and I think that it's possible that this could be something where if you just do this for a while and like come up with some sort of structure for it and some sort of idea behind it, I kind of think that it could be something that will be interesting to watch, and that could have a similar concept in terms of like I code something and people come and or you guys come and watch it and you just hang out sort of. Destination path already exists and is not an empty directory. Okay. City. And I watched some of his like earlier, like if you go back to on his channel, you can see like the absolute first podcast that he did, which are like super shitty. So therefore I'm kind of allowing myself to be a little bit shitty here at the start. Hopefully it will get better. I don't know if it will, but maybe. Okay, so that did not work. C ... Okay. Export path. Let's do that one. And Flutter Doctor. Okay, still doesn't work. Git clone. So where I did not put Flutter here. So rm Flutter. Okay. So we'll remove the this Flutter thing or this folder. If that is the wrong one to remove, then we can just reinstall it, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Anyway, we've removed that, and now we're gonna do the git clone Flutter into stable. Okay. Okay, next. There's too many things going on right now. Okay, pixel done. Finish. Okay. Next. All right, so that's installing. All right, so this is not working. This command sets your path to the permanently optionally pre-download environments. The Flutter tool downloads platform specific for additional. So the problem is that this might not be possible because there's like because of the fact that I'm running Linux in a Windows console. But I feel like it should be possible. And I feel like it should be a lot simpler than this. So we have all of that. But for some reason, installing Flutter in. All right, so I think we're gonna have to give up that one because this is something that is questionable whether that is actually possible. So anyway, this is done. Now, can we run it? Ham is not installed, but we just installed this. So this is like the typical thing when you're coding or building things. Things never just work like they should. Because we just did this. We just installed this and now I'm doing it again. And after this is done, we should be able to just press that, I guess. And fail to install. For details, please check. Prepare to install later ready. Complete, finished. Okay, so we need to do the hardware acceleration thing that they suggested here as well. Emulator, you can use hardware acceleration, configure graphics, OpenGL. Requirements. Open the AVD manager, create a new AVD or edit an existing. On the verify configuration page, find the emulated performance section, select the value graphics option, click finish. Okay. Create a new AVD or edit an existing on the verify configuration page. Okay, that's not what. Okay, let's just do this. Where do you add another one though? Create virtual device. Pixel XL, next. Download. All right. Now I kind of feel like I should have read a little bit about this before I started or tried it or something, because this is just taking a lot of time. I thought this was literally going to be like a super short stream. I was thinking that it was going to be like, okay, it might be like 15-20 minutes and then this is going to be done, because when I've done this on Mac, it's been super simple. Like, it's dead simple. No issues, nothing. I think like the first time I did it, I had a couple errors, but second, third times, no errors, nothing. It may not have taken like 20 minutes. It might have taken like an hour or something, but yeah, this is taking a lot of time. I think you need to activate the virtualization from BIOS. Oh, if I need to do that, I'm dead. And this is really quick as well, which is nice. Open the AVD, create a new AVD, or on the verify configuration, find the emulated performance section, the value graphic. To specify a graphic acceleration type when you run. Why is this like an entire book just to do this? Check if hypervisor is not installed. VM acceleration uses computers processor. Intel, AMD version 7. Okay. Okay. Emulator AXL. All right, so let's do what one of you guys suggested. Open the task manager and see if hypervisualization is enabled, which I don't know where to do. HyperV support, yes. Virtualization disabled. Okay. So activate, like all of this stuff. I don't know how I would figure this out without it taking like several hours. If someone like you guys are now like helping me with all of this. But if I was doing this on my own, I have no idea how I'd figure this out, because this feels like stuff that you would have to be like a lifelong Windows user to even know to look for, because none of the errors, as far as I can tell, have actually shown any of this. Don't even know how to spell it. Activate virtual. So I might have to I have to cancel, like probably end the stream to be able to do this, because you have to restart the computer. Look under enter the command given below. Launch the command prompt on the system info. Wait a few seconds. Look under see the yes. If it does, then you can use one sandbox. Alternatively, you can also see if, okay, enable PC on BIOS setting. Every PC. Normally, the settings can be used. Go to. Alright, so I guess I have to stop the stream and restart the computer. This just makes me feel like, okay, Linux or Mac is just so much simpler than Windows, because this is like a problem that you shouldn't have to have, I feel like. But I guess there's nothing else to do than to just restart the computer. All right, so I guess I'll be back in a couple of minutes when I've restarted the computer. All right, see you then.